Hey y'all, we have launched our very own merch on the Letters 2 Media merch store. We have a bunch of good looking t-shirts and hoodies. If you want your own Haddonfield Horror merch, click on the link in the description.
Do that.
I'm next. I know I'm next.
What are you talking about?
Because Jeremy got sent to reform school because of me.
Dorothy, he attacked you.
Dorothy.
He did attack you, right? No, he didn't. I just said that he did.
Why would you do that?
You guys wouldn't understand. Do you remember what I looked like back then?
Well, you were bigger. You were big boned. You were plump.
I was fat, okay? The only person that looked at me the whole night was Jeremy. And then when those guys came up and they saw us making out, I couldn't bear it, and so I lied. And I said he attacked me.
Dorothy, why didn't you say something about this to Vaughn?
I just couldn't. Dorothy, I really wouldn't worry about this.
Jeremy Melton couldn't manage a water fountain without screwing up. I don't think he's capable of an intricate revenge plot.
Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Maria.
And today we're reviewing Valentine, released in 2001. Written by Gretchen J. Berg, Aaron Herberts, Donna Powers, and Wayne Powers. And directed by Jamie Blanks. Maria, can you give the people the plot summary?
In the late 1980s, at a high school dance, young nerdish-looking Jeremy Milton is spurned and insulted by every girl he asks to dance, except one named Dorothy. Later, they start making out under the bleachers until a group of bullies discover them, and Dorothy says Jeremy attacked her. The boys further humiliate Jeremy by violently assaulting him and pulling off his clothes. About 12 years later, those same girls are in their 20s and enjoying the dating scene. But Jeremy has mysteriously disappeared. After one of the girls, Shelley is savagely murdered by a sinister man wearing a cherub mask. Just before her death, Shelley received a threatening Valentine's Day card. The other girls soon start receiving similar cards, and shortly after, they start dying one by one. When the police inform them that Jeremy Melton has not been seen or heard from for years, Dorothy speculates that he may have had plastic surgery and worked out to change his appearance, using his new looks to get revenge on the girls who humiliated him years before.
Valentine, 2001. I remember seeing this for the first time, I want to say like 2002 when I was a kid, and it's definitely one of the reasons why I have a irrational fear of porcelain dolls and ventriloquist dummies. And I will say watching this movie definitely, reinforced that fear. And it was interesting. But also, this is my first time like really, really sitting down and watch it. And the movie is kind of dumb and kind of boring and kind of stupid. But what about you guys? What do you guys think?
Um, this is definitely my first time watching this movie, and also my first time even hearing about this movie. When y'all brought up that we were doing a Valentine's Day horror movie, and my thought immediately was My Bloody Valentine, as I had never heard of this movie prior to seeing it now. And after watching it, it is definitely a product of its time, kind of like in that same vein of like um, Urban Legends, which funny enough, the fucking director of this movie also did Urban Legends, but it just felt like one of those movies that came like after Scream that was trying to like be like a slasher and not like meta in a way, but this one was kind of like a whodunit in a sense, but um not fully because we kind of knew that it was going to end up being the character Jeremy, who got like bullied in the beginning. But after going through like the whole thing, I think my only question is why did he go after the girls and not the guys? Like that was my main question.
Like they pulled your clothes off and had you naked in the middle of. Well, because also he got sent to reform school because she said he attacked her. So I guess I
Yes,
can kind of see it.
so that was the only thing. Like out of all everybody, Dorothy deserved it, but the rest of them, like they just said no. Like they were just being mean girls on type shit, you know. But out of all of them, like Dorothy was the one who deserved it because she fucking said that he was like unconsensually messing with her, which it wasn't that, and she just didn't want to like be seen with him. Which I'm like, y'all are kissing under the bleachers at a school dance. Y'all can go to like I don't know the bathroom, like a corner in the hallway or something. Like y'all went under the bleachers where everybody could see y'all anyway.
Yeah, this movie was stupid. Um, cause I agree. Why wouldn't you go after the guys? You go after the girls. I understand Dorothy, who for some reason was killed basically last. Like I guess, and all he did was shoot. Well, I mean, assuming that Adam missed Jeremy, he just shoots her, and like that's it. Like I feel like other kills got the worst of it, whereas they shouldn't have. And but to be honest, though, I guess I'm kind of not surprised that he went after the girls because this movie's kind of sexist, both towards guys and towards girls. Because like, first of
That's
all the
true.
guys in this movie are douchebags. Like they make them all out to be awful.
They're all predators.
Yeah, including like Jeremy or slash what's his name, Adam, who's supposed to be. I don't know. It was just kind of weird because they also made like the women not good either. Like they're all also very like soft, I guess in a way, soft girls who were with these douchebag men. Um, and I kind of hate what they did with Dorothy too. Like she let that man con her, but it's like I don't know. And then not to mention, I think Paige was the only one that was actually single, but she was the one that was the most
Mm-hmm.
outspoken. Like, why would you? And then I don't know.
She
I
was the
was
only one that was single, but they were all like doing like dating, like fast dating and stuff. It was kind of weird. And then you're talking about Dorothy. Over the years, when I saw this movie, when I watched this movie, whatever, I always thought that Dorothy was in on it and that her and Adam were partner in crime. But at the last minute, he flipped on her and killed her to be with Kate. It's always what I thought. But then watch this movie again this time and then doing research. That's not what was happening. He was killing everyone and planting them at her house to frame her for the murders and then kill her to then like ruin her reputation and her family's reputation after her death because of the lie that she told. So it was all done to like set her up and ruin her and her family.
Yeah, I totally see that. And I totally see him at the end convincing her to kill Kate. Like in a way cuz I think there is a scene where Dorothy kind of talks about how she was a fat friend and how everybody else around her treated her
Yeah,
differently. And I mean, throughout the movie you do see some type of resentment that she has towards her friends. So I would have and I mean, and I'm sorry, I hate that they made her like this, but she also seemed really easily influenced and manipulated, so I wouldn't
I
be
guess that's supposed to be
surprised.
tied back to her being the fat friend and her insecurity, so she just like takes any kind of affection no matter what. But I didn't like that portrayal.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. Which is why I'm assuming at towards the end, Jeremy was like, I'm killing the people that hurt me. You should do it
No,
too.
that's not what happened. He knocked her out and put the suit and put the costume on her. So her when she ran into Kate at the end, that was like her finally coming like waking up and trying to like get somewhere, and then they just ran into each other and fell down the stairs. So
Oh,
she was never in on it. It was literally he knocked her out, he put the stuff on her, she woke up, ran into Kate, they fell down the stairs, and then the moment she woke back up again is when he shoots her.
She shouldn't have woke up like a serial killer. Man, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Why she wake up
yeah.
like Michael Myers?
She
He
she
did.
definitely did a Michael Myers lift. But the movie would have been so much better if we were to believe that she was in on it. That was always like the saving grace. Like, oh, she was in on it. It makes so much sense. But then find out like, oh, she wasn't in on it. It just confuses the whole plot because there
Definitely.
was there was definitely some teleporting shit going on. Because how are you just killing Paige in the hot tub and now Kate is seeing you drinking in the middle of the party?
No, you're
Like,
right about that because it was even at the beginning, like when he killed Shelly. I'm like, ain't no fucking way he got on the table. She turned around for like 2 seconds. He's gone with the whole costume back on. Like that made no sense to me at the beginning. I'm like, so this man is fully naked on the table, about to get cut into, and then Shelly turns around after she sees what she's about to do.
and now he's up with the full get up.
I'm like,
We
come on now.
we saw no black like peering out, like suggesting that he like rolled up his t-shirt or something. So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that made no
And
sense right
also,
there.
she stabbed him in the leg, but when he was walking, chasing her down the hallway, there was like no limp or anything. There's no limp. There's no blood. Like,
That's true. But I will say I did like that sequence of him just like
I
stabbing.
that was pretty cool. What about you? You got anything else, Maria?
No, that's pretty much it. Honestly, it was a stupid movie. I hate how they portrayed men as awful douchebags, assholes who are doing failing in life. And the women as just simply like as the women
Dick
as
hungry
just
whores.
yeah, like I don't know, like no, there was no real. I don't know. This was just a
There was no one to root for. They
yeah.
made you. They painted they because they showed you the flashback and it was like, okay, I hate all these girls. They're awful people. They did that poor guy. I mean, I would have danced with him. I mean, yeah, his teeth were a little jacked up, but he wasn't ugly. Like
I
I would
think
have
that's
danced with
what
him.
I think that's what we were supposed to think about Kate, who said maybe later, but it's like, but fuck Kate. Kate was like, I mean, I think for me, she was just kind of too soft, and she was just so like so boring, and like very. I don't know. She just didn't bring anything to the table. I guess like she was just no
Yeah, and it
better,
was.
honestly.
I could definitely see how all of them became friends in school. I could definitely see like how they would click up. And then of course I can see how Dorothy was like, oh, we need that one unattractive friend to make us feel like. I can see how that all would have clicked together in the '80s. But I'm just like, I felt no sympathy for them, and then I kind of felt bad for Jeremy. I was like, these bitches deserve it. Like, do your thing. Like, I'm sorry, but then like they kept on like introducing people that would make you want to have sympathy for them. Like they introduced like Campbell, and it's like, oh, am I supposed to feel sorry for Dorothy now? And then you have that creepy ass detective
Oh
who
my
was like
god.
making moves on pay. I'm like, am I supposed like are you introducing all these douchebags guys so I can feel sympathy for these girls who you made me hate from the first scene?
And then you got the fucking neighbor of Kate's fucking Gary breaking into her house. Like, what if that was her?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted Dorothy's stepmom to get it. Like, oh, that was a missed opportunity. She was a bitch. The dad too. Like, why kill the fucking maid? Like, kill the stepmom. Like, what the hell is going on here? But let's move on to some of the scenes. Tawan, do you have any scenes that stood out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
um, yeah, the one I mentioned earlier when that scene when Shelly died, I did like the way that looked when the killer was just going through stabbing all the body bags. I don't know. I kind of like the visual of that looked interesting as far as this movie goes. Which this movie didn't really have a lot if we really think about it. But besides that, I think the other sequence, which I guess was okay, was the art show that they were at. I thought that was kind of decent as well. But besides those two, it was kind of, cut and dry.
Maria.
Um, yeah, like the first scene.
Paige, would you dance with me?
I'd rather be boiled alive.
I was like, that scene, like with the kids, because it's like, I just don't understand why he went after the girls. Like those boys, first of all, like first he would have had a good night, to be honest, if those boys, those bullies hadn't noticed him and, hadn't like bullied him and then took off his clothes and beat him up in front of the whole school, I'm assuming. Like,
Yeah, but like, okay, I get it though, because those boys embarrassed him, yes. But because she told people that he attacked her, he had to be sent to a reform school. And I'm pretty sure after that, after being sent to reform school and having that like creeper label tagged on you, probably caused even more like humiliation, and like no telling what his parents like reaction was like. So it could have been her lie fucked him over greatly.
I guess. I don't know. I still think. But also the art gallery scene, I kind of liked the whole thing they had going on in the background, despite that douchey guy, like that guy that was I fucking Kate, who was with Lily, I think her name was. That was weird, but I liked the scene of the art gallery. I think it was pretty. It was pretty cool. I liked the music. Um, Also, Gary's death, like the neighbor, because it's like this guy walks in on him putting on women clothes, like her underwear.
Take it easy, I am not well.
Like I don't know. For me, it was just really funny because I can't imagine like a killer walking in. I mean, he probably went there to kill Kate, because why else would he be there? And instead of finding Kate, he finds her neighbor putting on her underwear, and she's just like, you know what, I'm just gonna kill this guy, like, fuck it. So I thought that was funny, though I feel like it was a weird scene to have in this movie, like, why, I don't know. And also the maid scene where Ruthie like sees the killer dragging the maid's body out of the closet, to me was also kind of really funny, because it's like she just turns around, sees this man dragging this woman, and he's wearing a cherub face, and she's just like, what the fuck is going on right now?
Oh, great. What are you supposed to be?
Yeah, like I don't know.
Like you're
Like
like you're really unserious right now, ma'am.
like you're saying this like this is your house, like you're not walking around stealing shit. Like you should be ducking when you see people walk into a room.
No, for
Yeah,
real. Like you're so unserious right now, ma'am. Like you're about to die.
yeah, like I thought it was a funny scene.
For me, the scene that you mentioned with the neighbor confuses me, because if Adam slash Jeremy is the killer, then he knew Kate wasn't going to be home. They had a conversation before then, and like you kept on seeing him having conversations with Kate, but then he keeps popping up in Kate's. Then he pops up in Kate's house, and it's like you knew she wasn't going to be there. So did you know that her neighbor was being creepy and just putting on her clothes, or was he trying to set up a scare because for some reason this bitch wasn't locking her doors? And it's like that's weird all in itself. Like you live in California, it's the early 2000s. Like California has had a serial killer problem since the 80s, but you lock your door. Like what are you doing? Like this isn't. Wait, no, they weren't in California. Where were they at?
Uh, Were they not in California?
But wasn't she? Oh, okay. They were in California. They just weren't. They weren't in L.A. But they were in
Yeah,
California.
Shelly was
Okay,
in
yeah.
LA. They were in like San Francisco, I think.
Okay, because either way, like, bitch, lock your door. Like, what are you doing? You're a blonde woman living alone. Like, lock your door, please. So that scene made no sense to me. And then the whole party scene was just the climax was very anticlimactic, if I have to say. Like there was like I was expecting some big like final girl like fight, some brawl, but that just didn't happen. It was just some creepy scenes with her and Jeremy, and he was acting drunk and being and acting creepy, and it was like, okay, is he gonna kill her now? But no, it just like ended, and then she's stalking around, and then oh, there's the killer. Oh, Jeremy saves the day. Oh, Jeremy's bleeding. Like, what kind of climax is this? It wasn't given what they think they gave. I'm like, if this was like a Scream or a Halloween or even Nightmare on Elm Street's worst movie, like at least somebody's getting their ass kicked within the last like 30 minutes of the movie. At least there's some action going on. This had nothing.
Yeah, I
It was
think
a
all it had
letdown.
was like the couple minutes where she like beat up Adam slash Jeremy because he was acting drunk and being weird, which makes sense. He was being a weirdo, but like you would just assume he's a killer just because like there's a killer around. But he was also being like a big creep. Like shoot, like I would have fought him. Like get the fuck off me. But
Mhm.
but like she fought for like yeah for like a second, and then she was like, "Oh my god, like you're my hero." Like, ma'am, like that's all it took. I don't know. Like, I don't know.
And another scene. At the end, you feel this, you feel something like dropping on your face, and you're not going to open your eyes to see what it is. Because as far as you know, you're inside. There's no water leaking anywhere, and but then you feel these drops on your face, and you weren't gonna like fucking wipe that off.
She just like was not.
That was weird.
Yeah, this movie was. It's just not. I feel like it's. You're just not supposed to think too much when watching it. I guess like it's just. I don't know. It's just not it. I guess it was just a dumb movie. It's like somebody just made it.
It really was not it.
Yeah, it's like somebody just made it.
They
To
did have
talk
four
about it.
writers.
I was literally thinking that too, Mark. When you were saying off the writers, I'm like, damn, it took four of y'all.
Whew. Well, Maria, were there any kills that stood out for you?
Um. Well, Ruthie, her kill, I feel like was pretty. It was pretty gory because he like throws her through like the shower, and then he like, like smacks her head against that big ass piece of glass, which was like, I mean, we saw the whole thing happen, and it was pretty disgusting. Um, I also really liked Paige's kill because for some reason Paige's kill was like the most. I feel like it was the most. I felt more personal because he threw her in the hot tub, closed that shit, and then drilled her, and then threw that fucking thing inside the water, which I thought was crazy because it's like I don't know, you just would have thought Dorothy would have been well, whatever, I guess. But I don't know. So I feel like Paige's kill was the goriest. I definitely felt the most personal kill. Um, and I mean, this kill didn't really stand out to me, but like Lily's kill, where he like pushes her down the stairs and she like falls into the dumpster. I feel like it could have been better for what it was or for whatever they were trying to do. Um, I don't know. It was just very like disappointing because it's like it's a little creative, sure, but I don't know. I could just kind of expected more. Oh, and not to mention Campbell's kill. I feel like was really disappointing because out of all those guys there, I feel like he was the worst. You know, and then
Mhm.
what did he do? Didn't he just like hit him or stab him or and like that was it? And I was like, ah, I guess.
He hit him with an axe in his back.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah,
just feel like
he just had one hit.
yeah.
I mean, my first time watching this movie, I was excited to see him most of all. because I've seen that actor in like
Was he in a
several
soap
different things.
opera?
He was in quite a few actually.
I feel like
He
when you was always the soap operas.
he was in the last like season of the original 90210, and he has this very depressing distinction of being a part of the last cast of like four different soap operas. It's like when he joined the show,
It's going
like
downhill.
a year later they got canceled, and he just kept on hopping and hopping, and all they all keep I'm like, okay, can y'all not cast him anymore? Like, what's going on? He's a bad omen.
Some motherfucking
Keep him
red
off the
herring for real.
So I remember like watching the show and watching this. I was like, oh, he's that guy from 90210. So I was like, oh, and then he was there for like three scenes, and he was like still in money. I'm like, you wouldn't even like what the hell? He was like useless, but his kill was kind of like boring.
It was.
And that scene, which gets him to go downstairs, also is why I thought that Dorothy was in on it, because she sends him to go flick the fucking pilot light, and that's where he died. So I was like, oh, okay, that means she's in on it,
Yeah, I thought it
but
was
she
gonna be like
wasn't.
just go like burn in his face or some shit. I don't know, some weird shit like that.
You got any other kills, Maria?
No, just those.
Well, for me, I think Paige's kill is definitely stands out. I think that one was more personal because she was the popular one who like blew him off like the harshest. So I think that, and she, who knows, she probably bullied him the worst too. So that one was like when he was the whole sequence, and then he just threw the thing in a hot tub and electrocuted her. But also, your friend was murdered, and you're receiving creepy cards. So you decide to like go off in this big mansion by yourself. Come on. The second kill that I stood out for me is it would be the neighbor guy, because why the fuck were you in this lady's house? Like, you deserve to be killed. Like, you deserve that whack over the head with the iron. I was kind of disappointed that he only burnt him with the iron once. He literally burnt him and then bashed his head in. I was like, come on, give me a little something more.
Yep.
That's just me. And then the art gallery scene, Lily's death with the arrows. That was pretty
Hmm.
badass.
I like that one.
It's petty that she fell in the trash can. He just left her ass there, but still a good shot. No pun intended. What about you, Tuan? Any kills that stood out?
Yeah. Piggybacking off of you, I did like Lily's kill. I don't know. Well, it was just different, and then the way it just went, she just like fell into the trash. Like that was funny to me. And Cupid with an arrow. I mean, how much better can you get? So I did like that one. Also, as well, like Paige's kill. I wasn't expecting him to throw the power tool in there at her and like electrocute her. I just thought he was gonna keep the cover on and let her like drown to death. But throwing the tool in there and electrocuting her was a better idea. So that was a good one as well. And yeah, I think that was it. I already brought up. I like the initial lead up to Shelly's kill. It was definitely trying to like give us some like Scream vibes almost, but with like the cold open and Katherine Heigl, like in my opinion, was probably the most known person maybe at the time. And but
Nope.
was it Denise
No.
Richards?
It would be Denise Richards and the actor who played Jeremy.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, because Angel for him.
Yeah. At this point, Katherine Heigl had only been on what's the fuck,
Oh, she was in fucking
Roswell.
Bride of Chucky.
Well, Bride and Chucky, but she was also in Roswell.
Never seen Roswell, but
You never seen the OG Roswell from the '90s with the aliens?
no,
Well, she played an alien there for like 3 seasons. Like, that show would have been like in its second season when this came out.
gotcha.
So
Yeah, I
she
did
was
think
like known, but she wasn't like the hype. Like,
I did think Denise Richards was gonna be like the final girl, it was kind of giving me that a bit. I don't know why. I just felt like she would be.
I mean, because we're watching it from like a today's standpoint, and it's like it's Denise Richards, and the final girl that they had, like I don't know what she been in since, but like
What you
she ain't Denise
mean?
Richards.
You know
Where's
her?
she been? Wait, is that
That's
the?
Judy.
That's Judy. I just put that together. That just clicked for me. That's fucking Sheriff
Yes,
Judy. Oh
yes,
my
that's Judy.
god, that just clicked for me. Damn. Oh fuck me then.
I noticed that immediately. I was like, "Oh shit, Judy!"
I watched this movie like 3 times in the past like week and did not. That just clicked that that's fucking Sheriff Judy from. Damn. Okay, Judy.
I also found out like she was in The Sandlot, that like old like baseball movie. She was in that movie too. But yeah,
That
as far
old babe. That movie came out in like 95, 96.
that's old now. No, that movie came out in like '94 or something. I don't know. That's still old.
I don't know how I feel about that, but okay.
um, but yeah, that was about it as far as the kills go. That was the only two
I
obviously
mean,
I liked.
I will say that of like the 5 girls, they were all like that's some lucky casting because they all, in some respects, like went big afterwards. Like the like you got oh yeah, she was in the Sandlot in '93, but like outside of this, like she was she's Sheriff Judy from Scream, and then she's been in a bunch of other shit that I've seen. I don't know why I thought she was like she became irrelevant. What's wrong? I've seen like several of these movies and TV shows she's been in. What the fuck? But
Yeah,
then Katherine Heigl, I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, oh, so Katherine Heigl is in this movie with a scalpel, not even knowing that in a couple years, that's all she'd be known for is like playing a fucking doctor on Grey's Anatomy. And then Jessica Capshaw, who was also in Grey's Anatomy, I was like, this cast is pretty decent. It's not that bad. They
and I
just,
remember the girl who played Lily from fucking Legally Blonde and White Chicks.
mm-hmm. And she's coming back for Legally Blonde 3.
I'm in theaters for that one.
Yep. So this is like a decent cast. It's just with not a good script, apparently, unfortunately. But let's go to the characters. Let's start with Detective Vaughn. Maria, what are your thoughts on Detective Vaughn?
He was just useless. Like, I don't understand why they even had him on here. He was useless and like um and a predator, and like that's it. That was basically his whole character throughout the movie. Like that's it.
Tuan.
Yeah, he was definitely being like a creep throughout the entire movie. Like especially when they came to him. Well, no, I think they called him called the girls to the department, whatever, and he was showing them like the face morphs of what Jeremy could look like today. And after I think it was Kate left, you just got Paige in there with him. He has his leg, he has his hand on her leg and shit. And I'm like, sir, what the fuck are you doing? So he was just being creepy, and I would like to know how they killed him. I wonder, was he like coming
Yeah,
to the
that's
party?
that's my only note on Vaughn. Like, I wanted to see his death. Like, he was like the biggest creep in the whole movie, and we didn't even get to see him. We just see his head.
Yeah, like I wonder how he
Disappointed.
got there in the first place. Like he literally just
He
shows
was
up on the
he was
pond.
driving there. Remember, because they called him. He called them, and then they were like, "Oh." When they were on the phone with him, he was in the car driving, and that's when they were like, "Oh yeah, our friend Lily, she never made it to L.A." And he was like, "Well, be careful, guys." He was driving on the way to them,
Yeah,
Hmm.
I don't
but
know.
it wasn't really explained. He just like they had the car scene, and then it went away for like 30 minutes, and then we found his head. But like, I would have liked to have seen that. But that's just me.
You're just different, I guess.
Maybe. But what about Campbell, Tawan?
Kimball was boyfriend of Dorothy, right? or
The con person.
yeah, quotations boyfriend. Um, I mean, he had it coming. He was just there trying to just get money out of her, and basically also giving more reasonings into the way that she thought about herself and stuff, because he really was just trying to get with her for reasons outside of actually liking her, and he added nothing. He was a bum and was just trying to come up. Even you could tell by the way the maid was looking when she told him she could stay with her. When she came in the house, the maid was looking at her like, "Are you okay?" But
The maid was not impressed.
she was definitely not impressed, and um, yeah, he died anyway, so there's nothing more tough to say about him. He got what he got. Shit. Wait, actually, let me ask something. If anything, Jeremy, if he didn't want to put it on Dorothy, he could have put it on his eyes somehow.
He would have been a better option.
I don't know. He was just kind of like, I guess he was there so that you can kind of see the type of person Dorothy was. Um, which is not great because you've known this man for a month and you let him stay at your house because he lost his apartment because I don't know. It's just, I just like okay, like I think he was a cute guy. I see it, but I also saw those red flags from like the beginning, so I'm like, there's no way.
The story about his roommate sounded like a lie. I was like, how is she falling for this?
And I feel like she knew it, but she was just like, okay, like stand
It was
up.
the
I don't.
former fat girl syndrome.
Yeah, which is why I feel like this movie is just so. You could tell it's a very 2000s movie.
Not even a good part of 2000s. It's the ugh. Well, Maria, what about Shelley?
Well, to be honest, I don't like the actress for Shelley. I don't know. Everything she's been
Same.
in, I've just have not liked her.
Same.
But like, I mean, she was just what I don't. I mean, I guess I kind of do get, but it's like that whole sequence we had of her in the beginning where she was on the date with her boyfriend Jason, who was clearly, giving American Psycho. But it was also like, okay, so we got that. We clearly see he's narcissistic, out of his fucking mind. And she's over here, supposed to be your steady, stable woman who's in school. And then like she dies like 5 minutes later, and like that's it. And it was just like, so to me it was just, I mean, I get that her boyfriend was supposed to be like a red herring, but I feel like they could have done it a different way without us having to spend so much time with Shelly. um because I don't know, at that point I was just like you did this for what? Like we're on this date with her, and then she dies in a very weird way, and it's like it was stupid. I feel like her character added no value at all to the movie, as all she was just a cold kill in the beginning, and even then I don't even think they did that right. So I don't know, I see her as useless. Like her death added nothing to the movie, I feel. And yeah.
What about Lily, Tuan?
Um, that guy that she was with. I know it's wrong to like just talk like talk about Lily, but and not talk about her. But that guy that she was with was so creepy. I don't know how she even decided to go on the first date with him. Like when she was at the restaurant and stuff with him and everything. Wasn't she with him, or was that Paige? Am I getting them mixed up?
That was Shelley. What about? I was asking about about Lily, the bitch
Yeah.
with the
Wait.
arrow.
Yeah. Wasn't she on the date at the beginning?
No, that was Shelley, not
Oh
Lily.
fuck! I'm getting all these girls mixed up now. All right.
But like
Oh wait,
they're
Lily was
all
the one
very.
dating. Lily, you're right. Lily was the one who was dating the art guy.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Yeah. Damn, I did get them mixed up. Um, yeah. Besides her kill, we there wasn't much time spent with Lily to even get a good like beat on her. Like they were all kind of the same in that they all kind of share like the same views on like themselves as well as like guys and everything. So in that like aspect of each character, they're all kind of the same. And um, Lily, even after like they were, thinking about if it could be like Jeremy Melton and stuff, she was still like making fun of him and everything, like talking about his bug teeth, stuff like that. So, I mean, she wasn't like remorseful, even though she shouldn't be. She wasn't like the actual guy bullies who did stuff to her, but like still making fun after all this time. It's like, come on now, it's like it's lame at this point. So, not saying she deserved to die for that, but she did get one of the better death scenes in my opinion.
I think with the girls, the main like hindrance is that we're supposed to like them and see them as friends, but we only ever see three of them. Like we only really see Paige, Dorothy, and Kate. The other two are just like friends in name and in theory, but not like we don't get to see it actually.
That's true.
Which is why I agree with Maria that like Shelly's kill was like not a good cold opening. Cause I'm just like they're supposed to be friends, and we don't we we don't see their friendship at all. So like we're supposed to care about their friend was just murdered. Like with Scream, Casey and Sydney weren't friends, but the town had just dealt with some crazy murder the year before, and then now another murder is happening, and everyone's looking at Sydney. So you kind of felt something, but
Yeah.
this gave me nothing. But Maria, what are your thoughts on Paige?
I mean, I liked Paige. I liked her personality. I feel like out of all of them, she probably has the most personality. I feel like Lily was like a watered down Paige. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what's up with these girls. Like they're all just like different versions of each other, to be honest. Um, like they were all, at the base the same person. They just added little different quirks for each other. Because Lily was supposedly like the mean blonde one, and Paige was, I guess, the really mean one. But it's like, I don't know. It wasn't giving. Like none of them were giving at all. I also got confused when I was like trying to, like earlier when I was trying to write down like the stuff for like the characters, and I kept getting Lily and Paige confused. And even though I was focusing, and I'm like, how am I getting these girls confused? Because they're basically the same person. I don't know, but I mean, but I did like their personalities. I just didn't like the fact that out of all of them, Paige is taking no shit from these guys. Like she's not over here with some douchey ass man, like because because Lily was over here talking about what's his name, Jeremy, making fun of him, calling him a nerd, and then making fun of these guys, sending her these like dating, or I think Paige, or sending one of these girls like dating stuff and making fun of them. And you're with this shitty ass guy who you knew was shitty, and she was trying to have her moment in that like art gallery saying these things to him. And then at the end, he was like, "But you knew that," and it's like, "Yeah, you fucking knew that." I don't know, whatever. That's not the point. I'm sorry, but it's like, and I just hate that. I like how they kept Paige single, and then her death was like the worst. And it's just like, so she's the most outspoken one. She's trying to be in the dating scene as every girl in her 20s, or not every girl in her 20s, but like some girls do, when they're single. But yeah, she's the one that is single, and at the same time, this cop is trying to hit on her for like very creepily, and then her death was the worst. I don't know, it was just like it was like all these things were just, I feel like the most interesting things were kind of happening to her. besides besides Dorothy, but I feel like but but it was weird because Paige was technically a side character in a way because we also don't really see. I feel like we don't really connect with her in the movie itself, but it was also like all of these
Hmm.
things, these interesting things compared to Kate that were happening to her, even though Kate was the final girl. If that made any sense.
It did, but I kind of didn't like that the one character that we were seeing be harassed got killed.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's what I'm
I didn't
saying.
like that at all.
Yeah. Like then like what was the point of her being harassed? What was the point of making her the mean girl? I don't know. It was just kind of weird with Paige, I guess. Like there's four writers in this movie and you can tell. Like there were there was some things that were just
It
inconsistent.
it would have been so good if it turned out that she was his accomplice.
Paige or
Yeah, Paige. For me, because it's like she's been outspoken. She's been like blowing everyone off. She doesn't speak her mind. I mean, she speaks her mind. She's not afraid. So it's just like to turn around and it's like, oh, she's the accomplice.
but if, I
And then
feel
she
like
ends up and she would have killed what?
didn't they do that in a movie like somewhere?
They did. That's why I know that would have worked. I would have enjoyed it if they would have did it in this one.
Yeah. Because I was like, I swear it was in a movie where it turned out that yeah. All right. No, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I agree.
What about? I don't know. I got to rewrite this movie in my head because the movie I thought I had been watching and afraid of all these years wasn't actually the movie that this is. So it's like this has been a mind-boggling experience. But what about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts on the page?
Yeah, I thought, like in my mind, I don't know what, like, I guess it's just because of like the charisma of Denise Richards, but she felt like she was gonna be like the final girl as like character, and that's why like
She was the only one given. Like
she
all the women are
was.
great actor. They're all great actresses now. But at the like in this movie, Denise was the only one given.
Yeah, and I felt like she was gonna be like our little final girl in this one, and that's why for me, when I was like watching it, we got to like her death scene. I didn't think she was gonna actually die. Like I thought when the pool started filling up with like blood, I thought she was gonna kind of like fake and somehow like get out of it, but she didn't. So from that point on, I was like, oh, she's not our final girl, okay. But um, yeah, but I also didn't like her character either. She just felt like she was being like a dick at times for no reason, and um, it's kind of like that popular girl syndrome, I guess. Like she acted like that when she was young, and it didn't change, so she was still like the same way as she was. So, um, but yeah, out of everybody, she definitely I would say was probably my favorite though because she actually felt like real, even though her character like was like bad in a sense in the way that like she like acted, but Denise Richards did a good job like acting this character out.
What are your thoughts on Dorothy?
Oh, Dorothy. Um, they could have done so much more with Dorothy. Um, I wonder if that's why they have like so many writers. Especially, I think there's like one woman writer. I think they brought that one woman on to help the rest of the script because she was written like very badly. I'm sure like I'm very much sure that people like Dorothy exist who are like easy to influence and also like aren't like big upping themselves all the time and they're don't feel good about themselves, stuff like that. But it just came off really bad with this character as well as like her like giving a falsified statement against Jeremy in the beginning as well. Like why would she even think to do that? Like, if like obviously Jeremy went around asking anybody to dance and like blah blah blah, but you agreed and like because the bullies came out and stuff. Now you're saying that he did it unconsensually, and sure, in middle school people don't understand like fully what they're doing, but you knew immediately by doing something like that it will like turn and then immediately put you in the clear. So that was like bad on her character. And then also when she's older now, like she didn't really feel a part. Like I think it was mentioned earlier, she didn't really feel a part of the friend group. She just kind of felt like she was just there, and because they all went to school together and kept in touch, they were just like friends with like quotations around that. So she didn't really feel like she was really like a part of the group. She was just kind of like, you know, they were still like friends in a sense because they all just grew up together, and they didn't do anything to really help her feel a little bit better about herself, even though she said like she still felt like she was just like the fat, like ugly friend and all that kind of stuff. So they didn't really do anything to like make her feel better about herself. So they weren't uplifting her as well. So they were all kind of in a cycle with each other.
Maria.
Yeah, I agree with what Tawan said. They're all just kind of shitty people in general. Like, I feel like everybody in this movie is just shitty. Um, like, to be honest, I found Dorothy to be the most interesting because I feel like she had the most background, which is why I was confused. I honestly thought Dorothy was gonna be the final girl because I mean we're gonna talk about Kate, but like Kate was just boring. But I feel like Dorothy had the connection, she had the background with Jeremy, um, and I feel like adding Kate to that made kind of no sense. But I mean, well, whatever. That's the Kate section. But like, I mean, I agree with what Tuan said. Like, her character was just really poorly written. I don't. I feel like they were layering all these things to her character, but then never really did anything with it. Like, or like, is not that they didn't, but I feel like they were trying to set her up for so many things and ended up choosing one path, but then kept her set up with like all these backgrounds, like her being like the the fat friend, and then her, being the one who basically ruined Jeremy's life, and also being the one who's rich, who has like awful parents, and she has all of these things, but like none of them matter, and especially compared to like the other girls who are boring. I find Dorothy the most interesting, and but yeah, like her character was really poorly written. Like, I don't like, it's just because I mean, in the media, especially in the whole like 2000s, you do see like like a lot of like the way they portray fat women, and it felt like Dorothy portrayed all of them. Like she was the friend who felt insecure about herself, but she was also like the friend who resented her friends for it. And but she and at the same time though, she, I mean, I'm pretty sure she was also bullied for her weight, and I don't know, it was just all these things they were trying to do with her, but none of them worked. Like the only thing that like made sense about her past was just her saying these things about Jeremy. But I feel like her being fat just didn't matter, like it didn't. I mean, it might have given her a motive to kill her friends, but they also never like pushed that in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I think there was like one scene where she kind of went off on them, say, talking about her weight and how she felt with her friends and how they made her feel shitty. But it was like, it's like, I don't know. They just portrayed it so weird. Like, especially with her. I feel like in the whole movie being with like the worst guy, because she's literally being conned by this guy. She's letting him do it because apparently she's seeking validation because she's insecure because of what her how her weight was. And it's like, okay, I mean that's one storyline, but then at the same time she like resents her friends because of her weight too. And then apparently she's still insecure, and I guess that's why she was killing her friends. But like, I don't know. It was just kind of, it was like they had all these ideas and just threw like, again, I mean, I said this already and I'll say it again. You can tell that multiple people were writing this and they just couldn't decide what to do, and at the end just kind of meshed all these ideas together, which I mean, it didn't make the movie horrible, it just made it stupid because they were adding on all these cliches and some of them just stopped making sense like halfway through the movie. I don't know. It was just like,
And like the worst part is like they gave each girl like a personality trait, and then they gave Dorothy like five of them,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and none of it meshed up at all. And then like I had no sympathy for her because you're thinking about it. She kept on saying that he attacked her. You know that he was being bullied because he was lonely and no one would
yeah,
dance with him. But when he found you, you were sitting on the bleachers, which means no one wanted you either. And the one guy who came up to you to be like, "Hey, do you want to dance with me?" You told people that he attacked you and he got sent to a reform school, which
yeah.
probably fucked him up.
And it's not just, it was like, I mean, with that, because it's like you would kind of assume she would know how it feels and hopefully stand up for him, but I guess not. But I think like years later, when they ask her and they're like, he attacked you, right? She was like, no, he didn't. I lied. I feel like in that moment you're supposed to feel like, wow, well, I mean, at least she admitted it. But it's like, bitch, it's been like 20 fucking years. Like, you ruined this guy's life. Never decided to go back and be like, I lied. Like, you
When all the
literally,
reform school stuff has happened, that was your chance to be like, I was embarrassed. I made it up.
yeah, exactly. But I feel like, and like in that scene, like I don't know, I did not like the way this actually portrayed the scene because you're supposed to feel like, because even though she's saying I lied, I feel like she still felt very like high and mighty. Not high and mighty, but like it's, I guess
Like
it's like,
she was still like justified in doing so.
yeah, like she was saving him. Like she was like, being brave because she's saying years after everything's been said and done that yeah, I lied and I ruined this kid's fucking life. Like, no, like go fuck yourself. I don't know. Like, I
And
mean,
that's why like me finally knowing that like she wasn't part of the murder plot like ruins her completely because all these years I thought like, oh, okay, she actually liked him and she felt pressure to say that he attacked her. She felt pressure to be like she didn't love him,
Mhm.
but she actually loved him, and because she had to hide that, they reconnected, they teamed up and took out her friends. But that's not what was happening. She's just an evil bitch who had this
yeah.
man sent to a reform school.
Yeah, and I feel like your theory would have made more sense and it would have made, because I think like throughout the movie, Dorothy was kind of really like, out of all of them, I feel like she was more aggressive towards Kate, and that would have made sense, like not only does
Because
she
her
like
man
hate,
was fucking him.
yeah, because like not only is she insecure about her weight and mad at Kate for being skinny and nice or whatever, but she's mad because the guy she's in love with is, not with her. I don't know. I mean, I feel like it would have been cool. I guess not.
I feel like one of those four writers had that idea in mind. That's why certain things were happening in certain ways.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There was just too many fucking cooks in the kitchen. Like they were just not, like, how the fuck were they writing this? I don't know.
Oh, and this this movie is based off a book loosely. It's based off a book mostly in like name only,
Oh.
which makes it worse because outside of the name, it really doesn't have that much in common. But if they would have like really went for the book, it probably would have been way better.
Yep.
But Maria, since you're already on the roll, what are your thoughts on Kate? Because I feel like you have a lot to say.
God, I think she's so stupid. I feel like if they had taken Kate out of the movie, honestly, I feel like it would have made the movie better. Or I think it would have made, maybe it wouldn't even have changed the fucking movie. She did nothing. She added fucking nothing. I don't understand why she's the final girl. I feel like if it was a fight between Dorothy and Jeremy, because I feel like Dorothy would have fought a little bit harder because, this guy's trying to frame me for murder. He's trying to frame my family. He's like, Dorothy had a lot more to lose. So I feel like that fight would have been not epic, but the climax would have been better. Whereas with Kate was just like, gosh, she was so stupid. She was just kind of like, she was literally just there. She was following her. I would compare her to Tofu, like I did that one guy, but she was worse than Tofu. She is like Jesus, like she absorbed nothing from her on screen people. She just did not add anything. She was just kind of like she added nothing, absolutely nothing to the movie. I Honestly, I think like when I first watched the movie, I thought she was a side character. I mean, the twist did surprise me, but I was more surprised that Kate like survived because I thought she was gonna fucking die a lame death. She did not. That was the real twist. Because Jesus Christ, there was just no reason for her to feel. Because I don't know, especially compared to the flashback that you see, you would have thought that Dorothy would have been at the center of everything, but she wasn't. Which is, well, for one, it was a weird way to set up the movie because you see like 5 seconds of Kate, and you can say she was being nice, but she wasn't. Just because she said maybe doesn't change the fact that maybe is never gonna come. Like that's just her being a pushover, or just not wanting to say no because she doesn't have the spine for it. Which she was probably 10.
But she
That makes
she
sense.
said maybe, but then when he walked by, she had a when she said maybe. Then when he walked past, she had a like evil smirk or grin on her face.
Exactly. So it's like I don't honestly don't do not honestly I feel like Kate should have died somewhere in the beginning and the movie would have still ran as it did. Like it would not have changed anything. I'm sorry. If anything it would have made things more interesting. They should have centered the movie around Dorothy, to be honest. They I mean if they got her fucking character right and realized what direction they wanted to go with her, it would have made the movie so much better compared to like Kate, who
Or they could have
lived.
still centered around Kate, but then still killed her early.
Yeah, I don't know. She was like a I was gonna
Like
say
instead of killing a neighbor, that could have been a chance to kill her, which would have
yeah,
like oh shit, what's happening?
Yeah,
yeah,
I definitely thought she was gonna die.
yeah. Like I just don't. She was like a limp noodle, just kind of flaying around, doing nothing, being nothing, giving nothing.
And there we go with Maria's weekly comparison to something. Not an episode without it. Duan, what about you? What are your thoughts on Kate?
Yeah, I also thought Kate was definitely a little boring, and also she her character showed me exactly who she was when she saw her apartment door open, walked out the door in a towel all the way down the hallway to the elevator. That made no fucking sense to me. I don't care what I'm hearing. First of all, my apartment door wouldn't even be locked. I mean, wouldn't even be open. So that's like a non-factor. But if it was open, I'm not about to go into the hallway all the way down to the elevator and try to figure out what that strange noise is. Like, girl, come on now. Let's be for real.
I'm picking up the first sharp or heavy thing, yell out some names like get the fuck out of here, or I'm shooting or I'm stabbing when I see you. or I'm gonna just run out the fucking door.
Yeah, like she was so unserious about her safety. like, why? Like, there's no reason for you to be this unserious right now,
Sidney
especially.
Prescott would never.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Yeah,
and
she's so
especially after your
stupid.
friend just got killed. Like, what? Like, you don't know what's happening, but like, even if your friend didn't get killed, like, I'd be on high alert just in general. But
Yeah, yeah. Like you feel like these girls would be a lot more alert.
yeah, they were not taking this serious enough for me, and her especially in that particular scene, and then getting hit on by like the creepy neighbor in your like towel, you ain't got no clothes or nothing on, like you don't know what could happen right now. Like, girl, just run back to your apartment and lock the door. But so she was still in that moment. After that, I was like, oh, I can't take her serious. She's gonna die, and then she didn't die and made it to the end. It was the final girl, and I was like, that's our final girl. Okay. Because I was definitely like banking on Paige to be the final girl. Like because Paige was just giving me something. Like even though I didn't like her character, she was just giving me something, and I wouldn't mind her being the final girl. But yeah, Kate was fairly boring, and then like her whole thing with Adam, aka like Jeremy, was also boring as well. Like I understand like he was had a like alcoholism problem and you're trying to help him get off it, and now you guys were getting back together, but all their moments together were so boring. They had no chemistry together, and it was so boring to watch in my opinion. And both of them coupled together, being that she was already kind of a boringish character, like even though they were giving her character kind of stuff to work with, but she was still boring. So it wasn't really paying off for me.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was. She just wasn't. Old girl from Nightmare on Elm Street was better. Was a better final girl than her, and she was bland. And I don't know. Kate was the wrong final girl. She should have been killed off in the middle to kind of like throw off everyone, and then the movie should have been refocused around like Paige and Dorothy and just ride out at the end because she wasn't like Ruth would have been a better substitute than Kate in my opinion because at least she had like some personality. She was like I don't know. Kate wasn't given. She was boring. She should have been a final girl. Um, but Maria, what are your thoughts on Adam slash Jeremy?
I mean, I feel like he's another character that they also didn't know like what to do with him. I feel like in the beginning they were trying to make him into a red herring and then they switched it at the end and they were like, let's just make him the killer, fuck it. And also kind of thought he was a bit boring too. Like I can see why him and Kate were coupled up, but it's like cuz they literally give you no indication that he would be Jeremy besides like the end when his nose bleeds. And it's just like okay, like all right. And because I mean, like they gave like this movie gave you so many red herrings. Like they were blaming, Campbell, which kind of makes sense. He was a con man. He was trying to fuck up Dorothy's life. Which I mean, I want to speak really briefly about that because it was like Dorothy literally like got so defensive, kept getting so defensive about Campbell. Like whatever, sorry. But I don't know, like Adam was just or Jeremy, he was also just not giving like as a serial killer. I don't know. I just find it funny that they made all these guys in this movie as just awful, shitty men. And Jeremy, his only real flaw is that he has alcoholism. Like, which I mean, it is a really serious issue, but I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere, especially for Jeremy. Like compared to like the flashback, and then now I don't know. I just feel like it would have been cool if it was something else. Um, or not cool. It would have made his character make more sense. Um, the only times that you were like, maybe Adam is Jeremy is literally just the ending, which is when he was acting weird towards Kate. When he's drinking and he's like forcing her to dance with him. I thought that was creepy. Like that was kind of weird. And then that they bring Dorothy as a for you to get distracted. But other than that, I mean, he was just kind of like he just wasn't giving. Like he was not giving anything throughout the movie except like the end, like the last 10 minutes. And I don't know, him and Kate deserve each other, I guess.
I just would like to see how Jeremy turned into Adam because no way is that glow up that insane. I know they said like he probably got plastic surgery and stuff, but no, I don't believe it whatsoever. And I thought it was like a red herring type of thing. Like we were meant to believe that like at the end, like Adam um was Jeremy, but then like the actual Jeremy was gonna come out or something like that. And then that didn't happen. I was like, and then his nose started bleeding. I was like, oh, this is actually Jeremy now. I was like, okay. I don't know. It felt, it didn't feel earned.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah, like it did feel earned. Like once we got to the end of it, I was like, huh, okay, that's it. Okay. So once it was all over, I was like, that's why like after for the people listening after this after I finished watching the movie I had messaged Maria and Mark. I was like, so yeah, that was definitely a movie because I really didn't even know what I was like feeling after like getting through it. It was kind of like okay because yeah, it didn't feel like an earned type of thing. Like they were kind of dishing it out as like a whodunit, which I kind of thought it was since it felt like the same vein as like Scream or something like that around this like time period, but it didn't really get to that. And once we did get to the end, I was like, oh, so he was just there the whole time. And I kind of had a feeling. Once I think it was Paige or somebody who said like, what if it's Adam? One of them said that throughout the movie. I forget who it was, but one of them mentioned it, and then I was like, you know what, you're kind of right. And then I kind of just stuck with that the rest of the time, and then it actually happened, and I was like, oh, okay. But it was kind of, but then once he put it in context of like, why go after all the girls, like, um, why not go after the bullies and stuff like that? It kind of falls apart really quickly for me.
Would you watch a slasher movie where it was the slasher was chasing guys instead of girls?
You said, have I?
Would you?
Oh,
Would
yeah.
that would
Why
that
not?
be just as entertaining?
Yeah. I mean, if the like it all depends on like the writing and stuff. Like, but they couldn't pull it together with this one, which is why it falls apart so easily.
I second that.
Like if they had
But
like a cast of because usually they have a cast of really hot women. Like if they had a cast of really hot men, I would
I
have
would
watched
be in
that.
attendance.
for the girls and the gays, just do it. Someone do it for the girls and the gays. Come on, come on. But we're done with all that. But we're not quite done yet because Tuan has to give the people behind the scenes facts.
The budget for this movie was 29 million and it brought in a box office of 36.7 million. A little bit of interesting info. The movie is loosely based on a novel with the same name written by Tom Savage. Here's a quick book synopsis. A woman novelist becomes the target of a stalker. She is Jillian Tabbitt of New York, who finds listening devices in her apartment, notes in her mailbox, and gifts on her doorstep. Eventually, she flees to a retreat in Long Island, but the stalker, who has already killed three other women, follows her. He is a man on whom a group of women played a sexual prank on his youth by the author of Precipice. At a cost of 10 million, this was the cheapest film ever to have a Super Bowl spot. The film was critically panned. Wait. I'm gonna reread that. That because the budget was 29 million, right?
Yep, and they spent 10 million on a Super Bowl ad.
Oh, okay, okay. Okay. I read in my mind. I thought that meant like the budget. Okay,
No.
sorry. All right. At a cost of 10 million, this is the cheapest film ever to have a Super Bowl spot. The film was critically panned, with critics deeming it too similar to 1980 slasher films. The identity of the killer was up in the air during pre-production, but Jamie Blank said it was finalized for me when Bloody Variety reported that David Boreanaz had joined the cast of Valentine to play the villain. Blank subsequently wanted to make the film a why done it instead of a who done it, but the studio wasn't interested. Is that not what they went with though?
Eh?
Okay. Um, Blank's attempts to get into Hollywood saw him get the scripts for films like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, but lost out in both cases to more established directors. Oh, thank God! Oh my God! Can you imagine?
I mean,
Oh,
Urban Legends is actually good.
oh God! But oh, imagine this guy getting both Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Oh God! I don't think we would have been where we are today. Um, David Boreanaz, who played Adam slash Jeremy, wanted to play the killer beneath the mask, but his availability made it impossible. The studio was originally circling Jared Leto for the role of Adam before being thrilled with Boreanaz instead. Now that would have been a better choice.
Yes.
I could have seen that. Blanks wanted Rebecca Gayheart to play one of the women, but despite their shared urban legend experience, she turned me down because she didn't want to be typecast in horror movies. That's an understandable concern, but she only appeared in 5 more movies since 2001. And when Blanks first got the script, he assumed it was a reboot of My Bloody Valentine, which released in 1981 and initially passed, but that reboot did eventually happen in 2009. Some critics' reactions. The film currently sits at 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. The San Francisco Chronicle gave the film a middling review, likening it to a 1980 style slasher film, but praised the performances, writing Valentine isn't scary, but it is unsettling, not ultimately satisfying, but arresting in the moment. Los Angeles Times gave the film a positive review, calling the film a smart, stylish horror picture that offers a fresh twist on the ever reliable revenge theme and affords a raft of talented young actors solid roles that showed them two advantages. Variety gave the film a mixed review, noting looking good but lacking much in the way of personality or gray matter, rather like its characters. And TV Guide awarded the film 1 out of 5 stars, calling the film a throwback to the formulaic holiday themed stalk and slash pictures of the early 80s. But why it took 4 writers to adapt Tom Savage's generic genre novel is thoroughly baffling.
I mean, I will say that I do think the book is a good read if you like thriller novels. Like
Mm.
I cashed the book all the way, and also the 11% on Rotten Tomatoes is a little bit too high. It should be a little bit lower, in my opinion. But let's forget about them. What about us? Do we cash or pass Valentine, Maria?
I'll pass. To be honest, when I first saw the movie, I didn't think it was good, but I mean I enjoyed it for what it was. But then it's watching it again, and then I don't know. It's too like it's I don't know. It's too weird for me. I couldn't get past all like the whole sexism thing going on. Couldn't get past what the hell they did with all these characters. So I'll pass on this one.
Tuan.
Um, also agree with Maria. I will pass on this movie. Um, I don't think I would come back to watch this again. At most, I probably would only see this movie ever come up in my mind again or on my screen if I was doing like a random rewatches of like kill counts. But besides that, I do not think I would be watching this one again.
This is also a pass for me. Uh, I don't know if I stated, but I saw this movie when I was like 6 or 7, and the Cupid mask definitely is a reason why I am not into porcelain dolls or ventriloquist dummies. So watching this movie was a lot for me. But also watching this movie, I realized that the movie I thought I had been watching for the last like 10 plus years isn't the actual movie, and it kind of ruined it all because it became confusing. Like this is no one of those critics said that it reminded him of like a boring formulaic '80s slasher movie, and it doesn't because it would have made more sense if it was trying to be a formulaic '80s slasher movie. Even the worst '80s slasher still has something going on, and this is just a big ball of nothing that four people couldn't come together and get a script. Like it's like everyone had an idea what they wanted to do, so they just threw it all in because they couldn't compromise, and it's a big ball of nothing. It's a pass for me. But join us next week as we review Bones, the early 2000s Snoop Dogg horror movie hit. Should be interesting. Would this be anyone's first time watching?
It'll be my first time in some years because I don't think I've seen that movie since I was like really young.
It's gonna be my
Maria, would this
first
be your
time.
first? You're in for an interesting ride. But it has Snoop Dogg and it has Beyonce's stepsister, D. Bianca Lawson, who's been playing a teenager since she was a teenager, and who can still pull off playing a teenager at like 40. It's fucking
That's so
insane.
crazy.
Like she was in Pretty Little Liars, and I'm pretty sure she was in her like late 30s at that point, but I couldn't
And
fucking
fucking
tell.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, I'm just like, what? But we have that to look forward to next week. Thank you so much, and I kind of can't wait to hear which character Maria compares to food. So tune in next week. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?